The next morning, I went to the police station alone, ready to present my evidence. Detective Roberts listened intently as I shared the details, showing him the evidence I had gathered. I mentioned the dug hole I had noticed at Dane's property, and his brow furrowed as he examined each piece.
This is serious,
he said, his voice low.
I'll get a team to search Dane's property.
What if Mia was hurt? What if I were too late? My hands trembled as I clutched my phone, feeling the weight of the situation. That evening, the police arrived at Dane's house, and I felt a mix of hope and trepidation. I stood outside, holding my breath, waiting for something, anything, to happen. The door swung open, and Dane stepped out, his face pale, eyes darting around like a trapped animal.
What's going on?
He demanded, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him.
Where's Mia?
I shouted, my voice cracking with desperation.
Mia? She's not here. You're wasting your time here. She left and hasn't told me. I'm tired of understanding that mind of hers.
He stammered, but the flicker of panic in his eyes sent chills down my spine. Detective Roberts stepped forward, his voice sharp.
Mr. Dane, step aside. We have a warrant to search the premises.
Without waiting for a response, the officers moved past him, their flashlights sweeping through the dimly lit house. I stayed frozen on the front lawn, breathless. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, Detective Roberts returned, his face grim. He glanced at me before turning to Dane. I followed him to the back of the property, where officers were sifting through the dirt. My heart pounded louder with each step. There, I saw a patch of disturbed earth, freshly dug and still loose.
Mia!
I cried, but as they dug deeper, my heart sank. It wasn't her. Instead, they uncovered a body, but it was Dane's mistress, the woman I had seen with him. She wore the same red dress from that day, now torn and stained, her face unrecognizable and disfigured. A wave of confusion crashed over me. What had happened? Where was Mia? The police turned their focus on Dane, who was now frantically trying to defend himself.
I didn't do anything. I swear!
He yelled, but the evidence was mounting against him.
Why did you kill her?
I shouted, rage igniting within me.
What did Mia ever do to you?
Dane's face twisted in anger.
Mia's crazy. And that wasn't me, I swear. I don't even know how that body ended up here. And that wasn't Mia. That dress is not from her. I saw it before.
Enough!
Detective Roberts barked, his tone leaving no room for argument.
You are under arrest. We found evidence in your house. There's a dead body here, and a weapon with blood on it was discovered on the premises. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be provided for you.
Gripping Dane's arms and pulling them behind his back. The cold, unyielding metal of the handcuffs snapped shut around his wrists. Dane flinched, his face twisting in a mix of defiance and fear.
This is a mistake,
he shouted, his voice shaking as the officer secured the cuffs.
I didn't do anything.
Detective Roberts stepped closer, his eyes steady and unyielding.
Save it for your attorney,
he said firmly.
We'll sort it out at the station.
I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this, but at least justice was being served. Mia's body might still be missing, but I knew the woman lying in the dirt had played her part as Dane's mistress. She had deserved this fate, betraying Mia for her own gain. In the end, I was determined to ensure that Dane faced the consequences for what he had done. I would fight for Mia's truth, and I wouldn't rest until justice was finally achieved. Detective Roberts turned to me, his expression softening slightly.
We'll keep searching the property for any signs of Mia,
he assured me.
2 officers will stay behind to secure the scene and continue investigating. If you notice anything out of place, let them know immediately.
I nodded, my throat too tight to respond. As the patrol car pulled away, I stood there, the cool night air pressing against my skin. I turned back toward the house, but something pulled me in the opposite direction. I made my way back to the backyard, unsure of what I was looking for, but needing to be closer to the scene. That's when I saw a glimmer in the shadows behind the house. My heart raced as I stepped forward, my instincts urging me to investigate. Behind some bushes, half hidden in the dirt, was Mia's phone. I quickly looked around, making sure the officers were still busy with their work. No one seemed to notice me. I slipped the phone into my pocket, my pulse quickening with the weight of the discovery. Once I was far enough from the scene, I ducked behind a shed, out of sight from the officers. I pulled the phone out, hands trembling as I unlocked it. With no trouble, it didn't have a password. I opened it and discovered hundreds of messages between Mia and someone named Liam.
Liam?
I whispered.
Who is Liam?
I had known Mia for years, but I didn't recognize this name at all. I quickly scrolled through the messages, piecing together a story of a clandestine affair. Mia had been in contact with Liam. They had been planning to escape together, away from Dane's suffocating grasp. The messages revealed their plans to meet in secret, discussing potential places to hide, and how Mia felt trapped under Dane's watchful eye. Mia's words were filled with a mix of longing and fear, expressing how desperate she was to break free from Dane's control. I felt a rush of emotions, relief that she had found someone who cared for her, but also anger that she had felt she had to keep this from me. It became clear that Mia hadn't just vanished. She had made a choice to protect herself. As I tucked the phone away, a rush of determination surged through me. Mia had faked her disappearance, or maybe she had been forced to leave. Whatever the case, I was resolved to find her. With the police now focused on Dane, I set out to track down Liam. My heart raced as I drove, fueled by the hope that Mia was alive and that I could bring her back. Finally, I located Liam's place, where Mia and he would be meeting, a small apartment complex on the edge of town, the paint peeling and the landscaping overgrown. My hands shook as I rang the doorbell, every moment stretching into eternity, the weight of uncertainty heavy in the air. When the door opened, my breath caught in my throat. There stood Mia, alive and unharmed, though her eyes were filled with a mix of fear and relief. Her hair was slightly disheveled, and she wore an oversized sweater that swallowed her frame. The sight of her was both a relief and a reminder of everything she had endured.
"Lisa!"
she cried, throwing her arms around me. The warmth of her embrace felt like a lifeline. I was so scared. I thought I'd lost you. Mia revealed that she had taken matters into her own hands, confronting the woman Dane had been seeing while Dane was away. In a moment of fury and desperation, she had attacked her, leading to a struggle that ended with the woman dead. Mia then buried her body in the backyard garden, a grim act she believed would free her from Dane's suffocating grip. Mia squeezed my hand tightly, her grip reassuring yet filled with unspoken fear. In that moment, a silent promise formed between us. We would face whatever came next together, no matter how dark the path ahead. And amidst all the chaos, I realized that we had each other, and that was all that mattered.